Fossil fuel production definition. Fossil fuel production refers to the extraction and processing of naturally occurring hydrocarbon-based resources from the Earth's crust for energy generation and various industrial applications. These fuels, which include coal, oil, and natural gas, are formed over millions of years from the remains of ancient plants and animals that underwent geological processes such as heat and pressure. The extraction process typically involves locating, drilling, and extracting fossil fuels from underground reservoirs or deposits. This process can vary significantly depending on the type of fossil fuel being extracted and the geological characteristics of the region. For oil and natural gas, extraction often involves drilling wells into underground reservoirs and utilizing various technologies such as hydraulic fracturing, fracking, or steam injection to access and extract the hydrocarbons trapped within rock formations. Coal extraction, on the other hand, typically involves surface or underground mining techniques to access coal seams buried beneath the Earth's surface. Once extracted, fossil fuels undergo processing to remove impurities and refine them into usable forms such as gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and various other petroleum products. This refining process involves techniques such as distillation, cracking, and desulfurization to produce fuels with desired properties and minimize environmental impacts. Fossil fuel production plays a crucial role in global energy supply, providing the majority of the world's primary energy needs for electricity generation, transportation, heating, and industrial processes. However, it also poses significant environmental and social challenges, including air and water pollution, habitat destruction, greenhouse gas emissions, and land use conflicts. Furthermore, the extraction and consumption of fossil fuels are linked to various environmental and social issues, including climate change, which is primarily driven by the combustion of fossil fuels releasing carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. This has led to growing concerns about the sustainability and long-term viability of fossil fuel production and consumption, prompting efforts to transition towards cleaner and more sustainable energy sources such as renewable energy and energy efficiency technologies. Fossil fuel production process. Fossil fuel production encompasses a complex series of processes that involve locating, extracting, refining, and transporting hydrocarbon-based resources from the Earth's crust for various industrial and energy purposes. The production process varies depending on the type of fossil fuel being extracted, such as coal, oil, or natural gas, as well as the geological characteristics of the region where extraction takes place. Exploration and site selection. The process begins with geological surveys, seismic testing, and other exploration methods to identify potential fossil fuel reserves. Geologists analyze rock formations, subsurface structures, and historical data to assess the likelihood of finding commercially viable deposits. Site selection involves evaluating factors such as accessibility, geological stability, environmental considerations, and regulatory requirements. Drilling and extraction. Once a promising site is identified, drilling operations commence to access the fossil fuel reserves buried beneath the Earth's surface. For oil and natural gas extraction, drilling rigs are used to bore deep wells into underground reservoirs where hydrocarbons are trapped in porous rock formations. Techniques such as hydraulic fracturing, fracking, or steam injection may be employed to enhance production in certain formations. Coal extraction typically involves surface mining, underground mining, or a combination of both, depending on the depth and accessibility of coal seams. Production and recovery. After drilling, the extracted fossil fuels are brought to the surface and processed to separate them from water, gas, and other impurities. Oil and natural gas production may involve the use of pumps, separators, and other equipment to recover hydrocarbons from the well. In the case of coal mining, extraction methods vary, with surface mining involving the removal of overburden, topsoil and rock, to expose coal seams, while underground mining involves tunneling into the earth to access deeper deposits. Transportation and storage. Once extracted, fossil fuels must be transported from production sites to refineries, processing plants, or end users. Pipelines, tanker trucks, railroads, and ships are commonly used to transport oil, natural gas, and coal over long distances. Specialized infrastructure and facilities are also required for storage and distribution, including storage tanks, pipelines, and terminals. Refining and processing. Refineries and processing plants receive raw fossil fuels and undergo various processes to refine them into usable products such as gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, and industrial chemicals. Refining techniques include distillation, cracking, reforming, and desulfurization, among others, to separate hydrocarbons into different fractions and remove impurities. Distribution and consumption. Refined fossil fuels are distributed to end users through retail outlets, fueling stations, and industrial facilities for use in transportation, electricity generation, heating, and manufacturing processes. The consumption of fossil fuels releases energy through combustion, producing heat, mechanical work, and electricity. However, this process also generates air pollutants, including carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, and particulate matter, which contribute to environmental pollution, climate change, and human health impacts. Overall, fossil fuel production is a highly complex and resource-intensive process that plays a significant role in global energy supply and economic development. However, it also poses numerous environmental, social, and geopolitical challenges, including resource depletion, habitat destruction, air and water pollution, greenhouse gas emissions, and geopolitical conflicts over energy resources. As society seeks to address these challenges and transition towards more sustainable energy alternatives, the future of fossil fuel production remains a topic of intense debate and scrutiny. Fossil fuel production increase. The increase in fossil fuel production refers to the growth or expansion of activities related to the extraction, processing, and utilization of hydrocarbon-based resources from the Earth's crust. This increase can occur for various reasons, including technological advancements, economic incentives, geopolitical factors, and changes in energy demand patterns. Below, we delve into the drivers and implications of the rising production of fossil fuels. Technological advancements. Advances in drilling technologies, such as horizontal drilling and hydraulic fracturing, fracking, have unlocked previously inaccessible fossil fuel reserves, leading to a surge in production. Fracking, in particular, has revolutionized the extraction of natural gas and oil from shale formations, contributing to a significant increase in production in regions like the United States. Economic incentives and market forces. Economic factors, such as rising energy demand, fluctuating commodity prices, and favorable regulatory environments, can incentivize increased fossil fuel production. High demand for energy, driven by population growth, industrialization, and urbanization, often leads to expanded production efforts to meet consumption needs and capitalize on market opportunities. Geopolitical considerations. Geopolitical dynamics, including geopolitical tensions, energy security concerns, and geopolitical rivalries, can influence fossil fuel production decisions. Countries with abundant fossil fuel reserves may seek to increase production to enhance their energy independence, boost economic growth, or gain geopolitical leverage in international affairs. Resource accessibility. Discoveries of new fossil fuel reserves or improvements in extraction techniques can make previously uneconomical resources viable for production. As technology advances and exploration efforts expand, new deposits may be identified, leading to an increase in overall production levels. Policy and regulatory environment. Government policies, subsidies, and regulations can either incentivize or constrain fossil fuel production. For instance, deregulation, tax incentives, and streamlined permitting processes may encourage increased production, while environmental regulations and carbon pricing mechanisms could impose constraints or additional costs on producers. Global energy transition dynamics. Despite growing efforts to transition to renewable energy sources, fossil fuels continue to dominate the global energy mix. As countries strive to balance energy security, economic growth, and environmental sustainability goals, the transition away from fossil fuels may occur gradually, allowing for continued increases in production in the short to medium term. Implications of increased fossil fuel production. Environmental impact. Expanded fossil fuel production can exacerbate environmental degradation, including air and water pollution, habitat destruction, and greenhouse gas emissions, contributing to climate change and biodiversity loss. Social and health concerns. Communities near extraction sites may face adverse health effects and social disruptions due to pollution, noise, traffic, and land use conflicts associated with increased production activities. Energy security and geopolitical risks. Reliance on fossil fuels for energy can pose risks to energy security, as disruptions in supply chains or geopolitical tensions in key producing regions may lead to price volatility, supply shortages, and geopolitical conflicts. Carbon emissions and climate change. The combustion of fossil fuels releases carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, driving climate change and exacerbating global warming. Increased fossil fuel production can intensify these emissions, further exacerbating climate-related risks and impacts. In conclusion, while increased fossil fuel production may offer short-term economic benefits and energy security advantages, it also poses significant environmental, social, and geopolitical challenges. As society grapples with the urgent need to address climate change and transition towards sustainable energy alternatives, careful consideration of the long-term implications of fossil fuel production is essential for shaping future energy policies and strategies. Fossil fuel production in US. Fossil fuel production in the United States is a multifaceted industry encompassing the extraction, processing, and distribution of coal, oil, and natural gas resources. As one of the world's leading producers of fossil fuels, the U.S. plays a significant role in global energy markets and geopolitics. Here's a comprehensive overview of fossil fuel production in the U.S., including its historical context, current trends, and potential future trajectories. Historical context. The U.S. has a rich history of fossil fuel production dating back to the 19th century. Coal mining began in earnest during the Industrial Revolution, powering the nation's economic growth and industrialization. In the early 20th century, the discovery of vast oil reserves in Texas and other states fueled the rise of the American petroleum industry, transforming the U.S. into a major oil producer. Natural gas production also surged in the mid-20th century with the development of new extraction techniques. Current production landscape. Today, the U.S. is a leading producer of both oil and natural gas, thanks in large part to the shale revolution driven by advancements in hydraulic fracturing, fracking, and horizontal drilling technologies. States such as Texas, North Dakota, and Pennsylvania have experienced significant increases in oil and gas production from shale formations like the Permian Basin, Bakken Formation, and Marcellus Shale. Coal production, meanwhile, has declined in recent decades due to competition from cheaper natural gas and renewable energy sources, as well as environmental regulations aimed at reducing emissions. Oil production. The U.S. became the world's top oil producer in the 2010s, surpassing Saudi Arabia and Russia in total output. This surge in production was largely driven by the exploitation of shale oil formations, particularly in Texas, North Dakota, and New Mexico. The Permian Basin, located in West Texas and southeastern New Mexico, has emerged as the epicenter of U.S. oil production, accounting for a significant portion of total domestic output. Natural gas production. The U.S. is also a leading producer of natural gas, with production reaching record levels in recent years. Shale gas plays such as the Marcellus, Utica, and Haynesville formations have been instrumental in driving this growth. Natural gas production has been buoyed by its versatility as a fuel for electricity generation, industrial processes, and residential heating, as well as its relatively lower carbon emissions compared to coal and oil. Coal production. Although coal production has declined in the U.S. over the past few decades, the country remains one of the world's top coal producers. Appalachia, the Powder River Basin, and the Illinois Basin are among the major coal-producing regions in the U.S. However, coal's share of the energy mix has steadily decreased due to environmental concerns, competition from natural gas and renewables, and the retirement of aging coal-fired power plants. Environmental and social impacts. Fossil fuel production in the U.S. has significant environmental and social implications. Coal mining can lead to habitat destruction, water pollution, and health hazards for nearby communities. Oil and gas extraction activities, particularly fracking, have raised concerns about water contamination, methane emissions, and seismic activity. Additionally, the combustion of fossil fuels releases greenhouse gases and other pollutants that contribute to climate change and air quality problems. Policy and regulatory landscape. The U.S. fossil fuel industry is influenced by a complex array of federal, state, and local regulations governing exploration, production, environmental protection, and land use. Policies related to energy development, environmental protection, and climate change mitigation have a direct impact on fossil fuel production activities and market dynamics. Future outlook. The future of fossil fuel production in the U.S. is subject to various uncertainties, including shifts in energy policy, technological innovations, market dynamics, and societal preferences. While fossil fuels are expected to remain an important component of the U.S. energy mix for the foreseeable future, increasing concerns about climate change and the transition to cleaner energy sources are likely to shape the trajectory of the industry. Efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, promote renewable energy development, and address environmental justice concerns will continue to influence the direction of fossil fuel production in the U.S. In summary, fossil fuel production in the United States is characterized by a complex interplay of historical legacies, technological advancements, market forces, and regulatory frameworks. While the industry has played a crucial role in powering economic growth and ensuring energy security, it also faces significant challenges related to environmental sustainability, public health, and climate change. As the nation grapples with these challenges, the future of fossil fuel production in the U.S. is likely to be shaped by a combination of policy decisions, technological innovations, and societal priorities.